What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 6 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Skarbrand the Exiled Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, we took a nice little vacation in the Atalan Mountains, crushing the skulls of the greybeard scum beneath our hooves, and then marching onward to, well, if not quite destroy Khemri or the Drakenhof Conclave, pretty severely damaging them. There, a war between themselves and drew Skarbrand to them like a lodestone, and now he's in the process of casting them all down in his second rampage here. And on top of that, he's rapidly gaining XP now thanks to the 5 turns we have of the thing. You know, the thing? Wait. Trophy of Steel, Trophy of Glory, Trophy of Flesh, this, okay, Slaughter Incarnate, there we go. 200% character XP gain, and XP gain for units as well, which will keep everybody nicely trained up for when they split off to do other things. Pretty happy about that. Now, we are, like I said, still in the midst of our second rampage, so Antok is our next target, and that's where we shall go. Solid garrison, actually, by the looks of it, and this little army backed away from us, so we should have the opportunity to destroy both the garrison and the army herein. Go.
Today we raid brutal torment. This is what we live for. This is Khorne's command.
Aw, Scala looks so tiny by comparison to Skarby. Anyway, here we go. The enemy of Vampirus of Death is met with a kick which apparently does not land. But the next blow does, and she loses about 20% of her HP, so I believe she'll be out of the picture fairly quickly. Skarbrand, in the meantime, does take a Spirit Leech, but with all that magical resistance that he's got, it's not going to do all that much damage. In the meantime, the other Vanguard deployed hero, Skyla, has moved towards the right flank in order to try to get as many of the fast movers attacking him as possible before the rest of our army moves on in. We also got to keep in mind that we got 4 units of Black Knights coming in as reinforcements, and that's a lot of potential charges into relatively fragile bloodletters, so gotta be wary of it. On the bright side, at least, the Vargeists and these ones are kept busy for now, and our bloodletters and our marauders, or marauder berserkers, make their way forward. I believe Skarbrand has also killed off the enemy lord at this point, and now it's just a matter of time until we cut down said lord's army. Alright, and our bloodletters are certainly reaching those ranks, rank 7 now. Soon, once they max out, we'll switch them off to the other army, and just so that they don't have to be trained up, especially since the bloodletters are fragile. Again, I'd probably keep more of the regular bloodletters rather than upgrading them to exalted bloodletters, if it wasn't for the fact that A, they're kind of fragile and a hassle to use, and the auto-resolve doesn't like them, and the fact that the regular and the exalted ones are basically the same unit, and the exalted one is just plain better. So in those cases, it's like, I don't know, it's like using clan rats versus clan rats with shields. Why would you bother? You know what I mean? But anyway, in the meantime, though, it looks like our bloodletters rather have indeed taken some damage. These guys have dropped down to about 30% of their HP thanks to all those charges from the Black Knights and, well, fighting one-on-one with the Graveguard. I am seeing a decent amount of the enemy halberd and the great sword variant, and ooh, nice explosion from Skyla coming in. It does look like the enemy reinforcements have arrived on field, so our time is now even more limited. But by the looks of it, this army is very close to destruction, especially with Skarbrand and his pet bloodthirster / friend are working away at them. Oh wow! Did chucking that one infantry unit into that other infantry unit explode the second infantry unit as well? It looked like it cut it in half. That was interesting, and I certainly enjoyed it. Alrighty, but it looks like the Graveguard are very much not enjoying the whole situation. Now, before the units of Black Knights slam into our lines of relatively damaged bloodletters, and we have to try to get towards them. Fortunately, both Skarbrand and the Khorne's Bloody Fist should be able to intercept them, or at the very least two of them. There we go. Khorne's Bloody Fist, of course, has the Great Weapon, or an anti-large, and should be working his way through all those Black Knights fairly decently quickly. And we're going to move in with our fast movers while the rest of our army waits, as the Hounds of the Blood Hunt lead all four of the other units of Flesh Hounds into the fray. Again, I find it a little bit unfortunate that Karanak needs a tier 4 structure in order to be recruited, but, you know, we'll get that tier 4 up and running sooner rather than later. But I do wish it was a tier 3 structure requirement, or perhaps some other kind of requirement, like kill 1,000,000 jerks with the Flesh Hounds. Certainly, what are these two doing? Certainly a more easily achievable, I think, especially considering how solid Flesh Hounds are. And clearly, here, they are absolutely tearing apart the Black Knights, who are down to a sliver of HP. Our Khorne's Bloody Fist has turned to fighting the enemy White King, using his anti-large against said White King, who is on a horse, while Skarbrand is looking, or was attempting, to go after the enemy Lord. He's a little bit tied up by a bunch of Barrow Guardians. Oh, Barrow Guardians. Summoned by the ability of the White King. Hopefully it doesn't cause a desync, but it, by the looks of it, is not doing so, so that's working out nicely for us. Anyway, some more Black Knights have moved in to attempt to attack the rest of our army, but fortunately we did keep Skyla, as well as the Cultist and the Blood Reaper back, and all three heroes together led the Bloodletters to victory. Now only a matter of time. The White King has fallen, and the Graveguard, Barrow Guardians, and Skeleton Spears are the only things left as they melt away, surrounded now from every side by Flesh Hounds and Bloodletters. And the lesser demonic units will overrun and trounce them. But of course, the rampage must continue, as we've only begun. We have 5 turns to make as much use of that bonus XP on Skarbrand as we can. And there we are. Alright, there we go. Look at all that beautiful XP. And oh wow, this guy's like almost an entire army rose again. But do they actually rise again if they get defeated after backing off, or do they disappear? I guess we're about to find out. Otherwise, let's see. Skyla's doing pretty good. Oh wow, he, at least in terms of damage dealt, matched Skarbrand there. Not nearly as close in terms of damage dealt as gold value, mind you, but still pretty darn good. And also pretty darn good on the Blood Reaper, though piles of Graveguard and the skeletons are going to be pretty susceptible to the Blood Shrine doing its thing. Yeah, solid work out of everybody here. Alrighty, so we got a little bit of skulls, we got a decent chunk of change, and we have the opportunity to sack the place for 9k, or skulls it up for 1.7k and get a solid number of skulls yet again. And every time is a big question. Again, the problem with sacking is that we'd have to leave the place, and I kind of don't want to do that, because then we'd have to send somebody to come back, and granted, we do have the Blood Host around, but it's 2.9k skulls. Eventually, we'll have so many skulls that this won't be as needed anymore, and we'll be more free to sack, but for now, I think we'll skulls for the Skull Throne. Like so. Now, are you able to back off? No, you actually are dead. Good. Then, hey, we got the Bloodbrood Behemoth. That's good. And that reminds me, a couple of things before we move on. First of all, you guys may recall, or rather, that I presented the option of doing a double episode today. So if we do and maintain the streak, we indeed will have a second episode sometime later today. I can't say when, but sometime later today, so stay tuned for that if the engagement does keep up. Otherwise, between the episodes, I went ahead and got a mod to enable us to get more access to Beastmen recruitment. It just enables us to get access to all of their units. I was hoping to get access to the exalted Khorne Gores, and I don't know if the mod, since it was only updated like 2 years ago, is still functional enough to let us have that, but we'll see. we need to get the the next tier of the Khornate colony in order to find out. So I guess we'll build it up and then we'll find out. And besides, in the meantime, I did want some Razor Gores. I think the Razor Gores will work nicely with our Skull Reapers and our Wrathmongers, because we get Maim on the Wrathmongers and we can combine that with Bleed on the Razor Gores. I was going to do that with Fleshhounds, but then I figured, why not use the Razor Gores instead? Similar sort of a role, except they can bolster the melee line and maybe even help out the Marauders of Khorne with dual axes. While we're here, since we're going to be recruiting for a bit, let's do this. Let's get 2 more Marauder Horsemen of Khorne, and that... and then 1 Marauder of Khorne, and I know it's going to be expensive, but we'll get 2 more like this. Alright, that will be good enough. 2 more turns, and then we move. And we may or may not pick up somebody from here, although it's incredibly expensive. But again, all of the nice thing about the Khornate regiments of renown is that almost all of them can act as basically a core unit in an army. There's some really strong ones. Even the weakest ones, like the Hellforged Host, are tier 4. The Brutes of the Hand are tier 3, but between the fact that they have that sacrifice ability, which is really quite nice with that plus 100% melee attack, they can really help out. And then I guess the Hounds of the Blood Hunter are the weakest. But, you know, Fleshhounds are pretty darn strong, and they have Dampen to remove armor and spell resistance and negate magical attacks. So yeah, solid regiments of renown on Khorne, you gotta admit. Anyway, it looks like Skarby cannot in fact reach the next place, which I guess is Orion's camp. I'm not actually sure it'll be worth it to occupy it. Either way, Skarby, I would like you to go to Kasabar, like so. And we'll see about the range to Orion's camp. There we go. And we'll be able to raid a little bit while we're at it. Oh, we are still losing mana. Man, the draining winds really screwed us over. You gotta admit. Alrighty, also keep in mind that we can raise something and then reoccupy it. I hate for the rampage to have stopped like this, but it is what it is. The other thing I wanted to do is these 2 exalted bloodletters. We can get them names. You can be head hackers, and you can be, how about the coneheads? Coneheads. Like so. And let's maybe raise a couple more exalted bloodletters. Again, they will be transferred to the other army, so we gotta have them nice and, you know, a little bit more elite. That's why they're in Skarbrand's army, to get trained up, and also because they were the first units that we had available to us. So yeah. Ooh, when's the magic power 0+1? That negates, that should negate the losses. Oh, but we're at exactly 34. If we had been able to negate that out at 35, we wouldn't have been debuffed. Oh, game. Why you do this? Anyway, spoils. What do we have here? 1 point? I guess we could get a point in Raiders while we're raiding, why not? And then Skarby himself has 2 points. We have Revel and Slaughter, so I guess ignoring Anarchy to Madness, it's time to go through Kill, get him a little bit more of that defense. And Destroy is pretty worthless. 2 points effectively for 6 weapon strength is terrible. It's just terrible. And I get that Skarby gets... Let's say his point attribution is kind of meh compared to... compared to other lords. I'd frankly rather have the 12 melee defense rather than 8 and 6 weapon strength, but I guess we'll see what kind of weapon strength he gets. Also, we gotta remember that we do have this available as well, and it does provide us and more income from post-battle loot. Certainly something to think about. What do we have? Orion's camp and Kasabar. Actually, neither one is particularly well defended. Perhaps surprisingly, perhaps not. Anyway, anybody else need to move this particular turn? I don't believe we do. We have a little bit of buildings that we could be building, but our money situation is not so great that we can just sort of build stuff. So I think we'll ignore it for now. Skip, and I guess we'll end the turn. Let's see if any of Henry or Manfred's guys show up. I mean, granted, we did just destroy, what, 2.5 of Manfred's armies, including his main stack, so I fear that his strength is already broken. He does have 1 settlement to the south, and so does Cetra, so there is a distinct possibility that there's a full stack out there. Of either one of them. And frankly, there's a distinct possibility that Citra has many full stacks running around. And we just don't know where they are exactly. For all we know, they could still be fighting between these guys. Ready for duty, Herald of Khorne, good for this guy. You, Skarbrand. I would like you to first proceed to Orion's camp. And see what's over here. Yeah, so Suntree Glade still belongs to these guys. So this we will auto-resolve. I know it's gonna hurt, but it is what it is. Not willing to fight it, and we will... Almost tempted to Blood for the Blood got it up. This isn't all that much of a reward, and another Blood host that we could send over there might be helpful. So Blood for the Blood God, like so, free Khorne Familiar, and a free Agent of Blood. You suffer attrition immediately? Or do you? Go into raiding. Thank you. Skarby, go to their capital at Casa Bar. And then I guess sack it and then occupy it. And then northward to Camry afterwards, and to meet up with these guys. Oh, hello! If it isn't King Rahoshen and King a guy whose name I can't say. Yeah, alright. Now, what do we have in terms of defenses here? It's not much, but I fear that with these guys on the way, and perhaps even more on the way, considering... Who knows, Citra could be here with another full stack. We may not want to auto-resolve this. Alright, in the meantime, though, we'll send the Skullhounds here to the Plain of Tuskers. Yeah. And you're gonna go over here and raise the place. With, I guess, these guys leeching, -1, who will occupy soon. Oh, wait, we can't occupy this for another couple of turns, can we? Who's the lowest level here? You will be getting your army the last, so we can use you to occupy. Are we also not able? Yeah, it cannot be interacted with while devastated. Alright, fair enough. I guess we'll just use you all to leech XP here. Alright, leech and leech, and I just hope that Citra's army doesn't show up out of here. But if it does, it does. These guys will just have to do their best to try and survive. Maybe I shouldn't have moved you so far forward, but no, good. At least they're, if not quite doing their own thing, sort of doing their own thing. Anyway. I'll do this, now we can auto-resolve. I don't think anybody will die. Damage, though, there is, like, I mean, this is a ridiculous amount of damage to the Blood Host, but I wasn't, willing to fight that fully. Let us... We could use another 1,000 skulls to send another Blood Host up, set another Blood Host up, rather, and then send them out to sea to gather a couple of islands. It would pay for itself, I think. As long as we could get at least a couple. Yeah, maybe. Because these are obviously not worth it. Blood for the Blood God. Alrighty. Blood hosts perpetuating more blood. Oh! The blood host generated by another blood host is a weaker blood host? Oh, that's not great. We do have eyes on Talakwa, though, and by the looks of it, Talakwa is pretty poorly defended. Interesting. I'm just going to raise it over there. I don't think we want to yet advance down here. Remnants of battle. Alrighty, well, fair enough. Let's see what else we got. You're recruiting for one more turn. I imagine Malagor's going to go to Numos because the likelihood of attacking Camry itself is, or taking Camry itself successfully, is probably pretty low. I'm going to say don't go for the brass fortifications. And we should probably keep the war arenas here. I actually wanted to get rid of the war crucible, but... The other thing that I wanted to potentially do is take the opportunity to build a couple of Gorby's chariots, but it would mean sitting here for another 2 turns, and I think perhaps... We're better off just getting another lord to do this while this guy moves to transfer these guys so we can split off in multiple directions. Seems like the thing to do. Alright, either way, Skarby, let's do this fight real quick. It's not too much of a defenders or anything like that, but at the same time we should probably fight it, so go.
My wrath is bound to last. Only Salota can save it.
Alright, I got like half of that, because as soon as Skarby moved into the gate, he started being real quiet. But anyway, here we go. I decided to attack over on the left side this time, rather than on the right side. I usually attack on this side, but just to change things up, it makes no particular difference. And it's pretty much always better to attack in this place or this place either way, because it doesn't have towers. Anyway, looks like Skarby has broken through the gate and will lead the Hell-Forged host, a unit of Regiment of Renown, Exalted Bloodletters. And the Blood Reaper and Skyla will also crash through the units of Halberd, a variant of Graveguard. And good on the AI for placing the halberd variant right at the gate. Not that it's going to help much, as the two bloodthirsters are kind of standing like the statues outside of the gate. On either side of the gate, I should say. And we'll move, and ooh, some fellbats coming down, irritating Skarbrand just by their presence. Look at them, they can actually use their wings. They're just trying to make Skarby more angry. Not that that is a particularly difficult proposition or thing to do. Anyway, does look like with the enemy sending more and more units towards our little line of infantrymen, we're having, oh wow, that is a lot of units that went flying with that. Damn, Skarby does have a lot of splash damage. And that completely derailed my train of thought because that was pretty neat. But anyway, oh right, the enemy moves units towards the gate, which is making it more and more difficult for us to send more units in. But that's just the nature of not using butt ladders. Either you wait for siege equipment or you have to content yourself with moving through the gate. Especially if you can't bring down walls or anything like that, and I continue to maintain that Skarbrand should probably be able to attack walls. But anyway, the bounce power shifts to about 90, maybe even 95% in our favor. After all, this is a very minor battle, and if it weren't for the fact that we have to preserve our HP, it would probably go a fair bit faster. Admittedly, once we move the bloodletters out of this army to the, well, bloodletter and, well, various types of bloodletter army, skull cannons, skull crushers, or blood crushers, skull cannons, and blood shrines. And then we can simply replace whatever other units we want in this army that we can also train up. But at the same time, if we focus on units that are a little bit better on the auto-resolve, it might make it a little bit easier on Skarby and during his rampages. Also, you gotta admit, the Hellforged host looks pretty nice compared to the regular bloodletters / exalted bloodletters. I'm actually surprised that the eyes of regular bloodletters aren't really all that red compared to that of the exalted bloodletter or the Hellforged host. But anyway, the bounce power shifts to 98% in our favor. A few units remain, but not for much longer. We've broken through the gate now, and additional units are streaming on in. And it's just a matter of time as we cut the rest of the undead down. I do admit that I wanted to avoid getting bogged down fighting a million billion undead in the desert, but you can't really escape it. If you come to the land of the dead, you're probably gonna fight some undead. Ask anyone in Araby. They'll tell you. Anyway, the bounce power shifts to 100% in our favor, and just a matter of time now as we run out the clock, the last of the zombies in the graveyard, and begin to melt away. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single entities working together now. Again, we gotta get a few more heroes. Especially if we go for more elite units and less numerous. Also, I gotta compare the Berserk Brutes of the Hound to regular Khornate Marauders. I haven't decided whether I want to put them in together with the Twin X Khornate Marauders, or whether I want to do something else with them. But anyway, decisive victory for us. We gotta get that Norscan ally to get their units, admittedly. Decisive victory for us, unsurprisingly. Alrighty, very nice, quick little fight, and no problem at all, especially with the single entities acting as the linchpins of the army. 2.5 skulls for this. We could use the Unholy Manifestation, although I do wonder how much Hamry would be worth it, though on the other hand, we'd be able to keep the gold mine if we just straight up occupied it without sacking it. Hamry, I mean. Well, at least there's potential for keeping the gold mine. If we sack and reoccupy it, the main issue here will be that these guys will most likely immediately besiege us and attack us, but we could use the money now, I think. I guess we'll take the money. Tempting though the skulls are. Stack the place. And Spoilator and... Oh, wow. With this little blood host here, we could maybe move you to capture Kasabar. I didn't realize that Skarbrand would be in range of attacking these guys, and he can keep the party going. And I gotta say, I do like that idea. Alright, kill, maim, and you know what, actually I lied. Slaughter kill. Slaughter, why? Because it has physical resistance. Destroy is the most worthless, and admittedly maim isn't all that strong either, just by virtue of the fact that we have access to so much melee attack steroids that we, well, it doesn't really matter over much. You keep going through Plunder the Feeble, just because we need as much of the technology as we could possibly get. You can actually go through Fill the Chalice. Let's actually get enemy fire resistance up and running more as well. Alright. Skarby, I guess once again, the rampage yet continues. Is there anything else that we need to do, or is this just the same turn? Yeah, it's the same turn. Well, it's just the nature of Khorne sometimes. Go after King Rahoshan, please. And where is Mr. the Imperishable? Alright, what do we have here, incidentally? Pretty good. 6 Sepulchral Stalker units alone are something to be concerned about. 2 Tomb Scorpions, Ushabti plus the summoned Ushabti. And we've got catapults out of the this little army as well. Well, we gotta try to make sure we knock out King Rahoshan's army before we before the enemies arrive. Oh, we only got one more turn left of Trophy of Steel. That's unfortunate. At least we still got that Slaughter Incarnate. Well, if we do, let's keep slaughtering. Alright, unfortunately, a little bit of bad news this time around. Looks like we got a desync in this particular battle, so we're going to have to fight it manually rather than cinematically. Not much that I can do about that, obviously. It's a game bug. Seems to be happening with the Tomb Kings in particular in this particular patch, as we've not encountered it against the Drakenhof Conclave, against the Vampire Counts. So, yeah, fortunately, or luckily for us, we've pretty much destroyed the Tomb Kings at this point, so in a few battles, this won't be an issue. Alright, anyway, let's set this up like something like this, let's say. And get ready to move on. Anything we need to do here? I don't think so. Away we go. No, Tomb Swarm. Whatever, just ignore it. Alright, you guys go after the chariots, please. You, try to find all those Sepulchral Stalkers. I've found them. Go for that Rage Incarnate, please. Like so. Khorne's Bloody Fist, go after the enemy lord. Skarbrand, pop immediately that Wrathful Reaper. Good. Alright, you, rush past. And go after the chariots. And now, hello, little unit of chariots. I was not expecting you to rush out in the manner that you did. You guys go out here. You, go after the chariots, please. I was gonna send you around to kill off the enemy flyers, but it is what it is. Ooh, looks like this little fella's starting to get randomly focused down when I told Khorne's Bloody Fist to go after you, but apparently he got distracted by literally everything else. Alright. Not to worry. Everybody else go in. Skarby is busy in Wrathful Reaper, so he can't help. You guys are moving at slow speed. Whatever. Still gotta kill those chariots after all, so that's not gonna change. Alright, dogs are in good position to continue destroying the chariots, so, okay, you don't be fighting the Tomb Guard. And these chariots are nearly out. Frankly, a good work to them for distracting our units. They're better off doing that than, well, you know, just getting ripped apart by dogs. Alright, I'm going to say let's send the Blood Reaper back in. Let's also buff everybody up in the main blob and make sure that the chariots are out of the picture. Alright, you cut everybody down. Good, good, good. And the other 2 dog units. Okay, you back up. Oh, you're in Rampage because of the Curse of Joff. Definitely getting a taste of our own medicine here with all these rampages. Alright, you don't actually need to go this way. Hey, help out against the chariots. We've also got reinforcements probably coming in soon, so we do have to be... Yeah, there they are. Speak of the devil. And so we gotta be careful to get ready to reposition and make sure that our dogs don't run into the enemy. Plus, the enemy has artillery, so we'll need to be able to deal with those. Alright, you stay nearby for, you know, the aura, but don't directly engage the enemy in a fight. Alright, what are we... Huh. Enemy's kind of moving in an interesting way. Okay, we got 3, we got these 2 doggos that were rampaging. Let's back you off a teensy bit. Skarby, I'd like you to do something for me. Go this way. Try to go through this. Well, actually, you know what? Let's try to kill off the enemy lord first, who everybody seems to be ignoring and allowing him to attack the Blood Reaper, which is not what we want. Alright, you know what? We'll make this a little bit easier. Start backing off and regrouping. Like so, and like so, and both of you dogs like so as well. Hello, unit of Ushabti. Don't go into column formation. Every time. The column formation bug is absolutely infuriating. Definitely a bug I really get annoyed at. Especially because it wasn't the behavior that existed in... Actually, I don't remember how long it's been now without it. It's part of the experience now, but I feel like it didn't exist in Total Warhammer 2 unless I'm mistaken. But I very well could be. Alrighty, dogs. I just want you to tie up the enemy Ushabti with great bow. In fact, you know what, back off. You're close enough to the edge of the map so that you can whatchamacallit, back off if you need to. Though it would be nice to keep you on field. We can't guarantee it for obvious reasons. You. Skarby, I'd like you now to charge those Ushabti with great bow and force them to rampage. Other single entities go this way. And we gotta get ready to reposition the rest of our army. Like so, minus you and your idiotic rampaging. Alright. How are we doing otherwise? Looks like the enemy's attacking the doggos. Skarby, where is those Ushabti? Force the rampage. Like so. And you can probably eat those chariots. You, back off. Oh, there's a unit of Spokewell Stalkers here, interesting. Alright, they're all around Skarby, so that's actually fine. You go after the Spokewell Stalkers. You can now back off since you're melting away while you attack this. I'm probably not going to waste Relentless Rage on you. Looks like a few of the units are charging into our main Bloodletter line, and that's just fine. What we do need to do, however, is keep these guys safe. You know what? Send you out here. Get ready to send everybody else in. Skarby will be fine. All right, and don't fight the enemy. Don't fight these guys. And just back off the battlefield with, you know, all of your HP as needed. Frankly, well, I've already played this, obviously, since it turned out to be a desync, so I've already won it, so the casualties don't really matter. It's just a replay and all that, but, you know, it's the principle of the thing and all that. Anyway, Skarby, still in that rampage. All right, time for you dogs to back off, and time for you dogs to back up, while these Spokewell Stalkers get annihilated. Fantabulous. You guys, now time to start looping around, going after the enemy range units. Skarby, when your rampage is done, you can start moving forward. Alright, the dogs have backed off. Blood Reaper, buff and debuff, and let's Khorne buff to maximize our melee attack and try to do as much damage as possible. Skarby, you're eating too many arrows. Go after that enemy lord while we go after the enemy range units. You guys move into the center of the battlefield, and Skyla, I guess, help out against the enemy lord. Well, actually, maybe cause a few more rampages, if you please. Alright, you guys, try to back away from the... Okay. I don't know why this lord is chasing you. Trying to chase down berserkers randomly. Ooh, hello, there's a Tomb Scorpion here. Skarby, heal yourself. And you're gonna run away in terror from the Scorpion, while the Blood Reaper has started to take a little bit of damage from the other Tomb Scorpion. I'm gonna just in case pop this on you, and back you away while you go after the Ushabti with great bows. Oh, lovely. And just withdraw any units that take sufficient damage as needed. Enemy Tomb King has in the meantime fallen. Skarby has returned to the fray. Hey, don't get back into fighting, just back off. Actually, you're not so damaged that we necessarily have to move you out. Maybe just, it'll keep you around then. In fact, go and attack this. You should recover next to Skarbrand's aura. Alright, you guys, don't fight the Ushabti, just fight this. And what do we have out here? One of the Bloodletters is melting away against the Ushabti, but they might recover as well. And you, move out here for your aura, please. Everything else looks, well, if not quite good, at the very least we're still kicking. Kill that Tomb Scorpion, please. Oh, another Tomb Scorpion. How damaged is this one? Not so damaged that we can keep you two around to get killed by it, so let's back you off. Now these guys are out, and our berserkers are pretty badly damaged. Can't use our sacrifice, but not a big deal. Skyla's in good shape, and the enemy is now melting away. I believe we preserved all of our units in terms of backing off as needed. Skarbrand cause one last rampage, and yeah, this is kind of why it's a hassle to keep using bloodletters and not evolve them. Well, I mean, not evolve them to exalted bloodletters. It's just because they're so darn fragile, and the demonic instability will just cause them to melt away, and it's just easier to not have to deal with it. Especially since, again, they're identical units, essentially. Not that I mind withdrawing and stuff occasionally, it's still fun and all that. Adds an extra little bit of tactical element. It just the very idea, especially when playing Khorne, bothers me. I remember I had basically the same sort of issue in Battlefleet Gothic, where I figured, you know what, if you're just fight until you die. Don't retreat like a bunch of cowards. Fight or die. But yeah, that's especially sensible. Or maybe sensible isn't quite the right word, but more fully accurate for Khorne. Khornates running away like cowards. It's not it. Anyway, there we go with that. The last of the enemy units melt away, and our Pyrrhic victory is ours. But this says a hollow victory, but I feel like this text should be completely changed for Khorne, because obviously Khorne absolutely loves this. Ooh, alrighty, there we go, a Pyrrhic victory, exactly what Khorne wants to see, and towards the end there, it was certainly down to the wire as several of our demonic units had begun to melt away, and were starting to get close to that banishment. Surprisingly, only 2.8k favor, but I'm willing to bet that we can... I was about to say, I'm willing to bet that we get a lot more favor by offering us tribute, but not really. Tons and tons of XP, but barely any money or skulls for that. Well, actually, the skulls isn't too bad. We're pretty damaged now, but honestly, this is also not that much healing. Go figure. I guess we're taking the skulls. We were about to lose the Trophy of Steel over the next turn anyway, so we may as well. Yeah. Also, damage-wise, let's see what we got here. The best performing... Oh, wow, look at that. The Hell-Forged Host, 56,000 damage and 3.4k damage out as gold value. Skarbrand, doubling the damage out of his gold value of the other fighty heroes. The Blood Reaper and the Cultist having taken severe damage from the Tomb Scorpions, focusing them down. 47k damage on the Coneheads. Very well earned their name there. 48k damage, in fact. And 28k damage on the Head Hackers, pretty darn solid, and those two out-damaging all the unnamed units. My superstition about named units performing better than unnamed units continues unabated. And if we take a look at the named hounds, looks like the Corn Dogs beat out the other three, including the two unnamed ones. And the Karenax puppies also do better than the unnamed ones. Superstition continues. Anyway, reap captives, I suppose. I'm surprised we got such little reward for a Pyrrhic victory and a rather nice fight, but what can you do? Anyway, go to this side and kill what remains of Rahotep. And you can have the Cornet Zealot. And hey, Aslog has now the Chaos War Shrine, which is a nice pickup. Though it will, you know what? I was about to say, it will necessitate some itemization. I don't care for the Sword of Swift Slaying, as odd as that sounds for Khornate faction, so we'll fuse this into an Ether Blade. On the War Shrine, wait, you lose your base weapon damage and you gain armor piercing, so this would be good on a hero or lord that has tons and tons of armor piercing and little base. What do you have? Lots of base. You don't have that much base. This might actually be quite nice on a Blood Reaper, though you're carrying our Brass Cleaver. We could obviously give that to another one later on. Yeah, but anyway, the reason I wanted to give you stuff was because you've been fairly fragile. In fact, we'll give you the Potion of Healing for now. I'm going to take that off you later, but we'll keep hold of it. I guess we can give you one of the Obsidian Amulets for the additional armor on the War Shrine. I actually prefer you, War Shrines, to also be carrying the glittering scales, so I think we'll take that away from the first sun. Well, actually, no, the first sun's okay with it. We'll just hope that we can get another one. Let's fuse these two. Talisman Protection actually isn't bad, but I'm hoping we can get something better, like a Talisman of Endurance. Not for you, but definitely on a Lord. And then there's no weapons for you. We don't really have that much items. I guess we'll give you the Obsidian Armor for now, just for the additional armor. No Potion of Strength for you. That'll go for Hero. In fact, for now, I guess we'll give this to Skyla so he can, you know, get things harder. Like so. Alright. And ancillaries, we do have more of those Agents of Blood, but they're not super helpful. We have more Cornate Familiars, and yeah, nothing there, really. Alright. Then, Skarby, go to Rahotep. There's Mr. Cetra. We will auto-resolve what remains here. This better not damage you two. And 10 losses, but otherwise not super significant. We can get 4 turns of Offer's Tribute then. Like so. Then, at the Springs of Eternal Life, which has the construction cost, for the marble. Which makes it a solid location to pick up. Either way, it doesn't change the fact that we would want to... Oh, we have none of the options offer us any amount of healing? That's disappointing. Why did the healing disappear from Sack? Game, what you doing? I'm almost tempted to occupy just to keep the marble so that we can build Hemry up faster, but it's also not super critical. We could also sack it or raise it and then reoccupy it with our thing. 6k, our money is okay for now. I guess we just raise it to recover the movement range. Spells for the Skull Throne. We'll get it back, whatever. Alrighty, then we can hit Hemry, but unfortunately we're so severely damaged we wouldn't be able to win without losing a ton of blood letters, and I'm not willing to do that right now. So what we'll do instead is this. We can heal over the turn. If we March Stance, we would lose what? Well, we'd have the Vigor loss in battle. Cetra might attack us, but even damaged, I don't imagine he'd kill us. And we should heal in enemy territory, right? I'm just wondering, would we be able to reach Numas next turn if we March Stance? I just want to kind of get there before Malagor does. And this is all ruins, so I don't imagine these guys... Oh, we could alternatively go around this way and hit Qatar first, then bounce towards Numas afterwards. Maybe that's the better way to do it. Alright, Cetra, you're gonna have to wait for a turn or so. Just to double check, we should heal up in enemy territory, but let me just make sure. 40 and 2. Okay, yeah, we're at the same. So, we'll go to Qatar, raise that onto Numas, and then onto Khemri, which we know that these guys can't take on. We will also want to level your... Oh, your replenished troops is maxed out now. That's fine. We will also want to get you the Gate of Khorne and start leveling that. We will also want to level everybody else in here because, well, why not? While we're at it, fill the chalice, please. You can kill. And Skarby, you got 3 more levels. Let's get you Slaughter, Bellow of Endless Fury, get you a magic missile, see how effective that is. And out of these, I'm gonna say Murder for the additional HP. Unlike, you know, Tamarkan or Kugath, you have like half of their HP, and even with your healing, that, wow. Their effective HP would be significantly higher. Alrighty, now, is there any critical stuff that we would want to upgrade? I was a little bit worried about Cetra going to Agril Migdal, but frankly, maybe he could conquer it, but we'd be able to get a Lord immediately recruited there if we really wanted to, so I think it's probably unlikely. How's everybody around us feeling about us? Not great, but also not attempting to murder us yet, which I'm sure is to Khorne's disappointment. Alrighty, I think we are able to start investing in a few of these territories, so let's build the Dark Bastion at Al-Haika, I guess. Then we may as well upgrade the Dark Bastion here. We can go for the spices. Honestly, it doesn't really do too much for us. A little bit of income from the territory, but frankly, the territory basically makes no income anyway. Well, actually, wait. It will help the go for docks, which will make some... fine, go for spices, whatever. Alrighty, what is this? This is the growth building. I was actually looking to remove the War Crucible from Death Gorge, but we'll wait until this is gone, because I think we still get the adjacency bonus. Galbaraz, you're kind of in the same position where you have that war arena, which would in theory apply to these territories, but we may want to build some actual structures here, so I think we're just gonna have to let it go. Land of Assassins, Wizard Caliph's Palace, we'll keep it as a dimensional breach because we'll want to, well, there will be a few places where we'll want to build some demonic stuff, so, you know. But we can't upgrade it right now. Anyway, a Vulture Mountain and Eye of the Panther. Let us go for build and build. What? No. Build and build, and let's go for the Cultist Outpost, and yeah, upgrade the War Arena, whatever. All good, and is that it? Oh, we still have the Great Desert of Araby, but I mean, I guess we could build the Secluded Oasis, whatever. And here, the Dark Bastion will be slightly easier, slightly better at defending. Alright, there we go. Gotta be careful with our cash. Maybe we'll raise a few more, or sack a few more places for a little bit more cash now. Also, Unholy Manifestation, again, this is take control of target to occupied ruin. Gonna have to put that to use somewhere. And next turn, we can either go for Summon from Beyond, which would help. Oh, we will probably want Dissipation's Domain. As soon as we capture this and this, we'll want, and these, we'll want these places to occupy themselves, especially before other factions arrive to sort of skulk in our ruin, in the wake of our ruin. Anyway, skip, and then the turn for now. I wonder if Cetra will move to Numas. It would be nice if he did, because we'd be able to raise Kotar and then immediately move to Numas. Huh, okay, I wasn't expecting that. He's actually moving towards us? I wonder if he'll run. Whoa, what? Why? No, we were healing. Why are we suffering attrition? Oh, don't tell me he sandstormed. Oh, you clever little jerk face. He actually sandstormed, meaning we won't heal. Oh, I played myself. Should have stayed in the friendlier region. Good for Cetra. I admire that. That was great. Great work, buddy. And, oh wow. That is most definitely not good. We cannot afford to be in Sandstorm region. The problem for Cetra is, can he actually stop us, even with the damage that we've taken? Oh. Yeah, the damage is severe. Alright, Pestilence Scheme. Okay, let's see if we can solve this. Technology research, okay, there's that control. Drawn to destruction, pools of despair. First of all, we will pop off the... There's nothing here that will make us immune to attrition. Control +5 for every concurrent war with a neighboring region. Growth per region +20. Ooh, we could actually use this maybe more than the colonization thing right now. All the growth would be nice. Frankly, we could have probably used the recruit thing, but anyway, let's do... I'm gonna say let's do Endless Fuel. Like so. It's only one war, but it should be more than enough to sort of fix our public order and generate a decent amount of control. Then, we will want to... Alright, wait. So you guys are moving to Talaqua, but we should have enough to take, yeah, though there is an army out here. I guess... Carmine Eaters. We'll move you to Kasabar. We should still be able to have you occupied. You can raid it for a turn and then occupied next turn, although funnily enough the garrison will be recovered. Then, assuming that one of you will have to go back to Sudenburg. Alright, I'm gonna say put you into raiding stance in Talaqua. Can't see anything else out there. We will also want to select a new tech, which is going to be the... We could go for Exist Always. This is going to take 19 turns, or we could take 20 turns. 16 turns, 17 turns, rather, to get the upkeep reduction for infantry units. So I guess the question is the path to this better than the path to this? This will effectively be a military upgrade for most of our forces right now, because we're mostly infantry-based. The income doesn't matter, the sacking does, the raiding doesn't matter all that much, the recruitment will matter, but yeah, you know what, I think I like this this way better. Let's start with... Armor-piercing damage for bloodletter since we're using a lot of blood. Oh, just straight up melee attack and leadership for all infantry. Let's do that. We'll buff up all of our infantry and then we'll go back to pillars and go to exist always afterwards. Alright, then... What is this? Alright. Gonna keep ignoring Sudenberg. Although we could just leave Tavi back here. Well, you know what? We could also summon a temporary lord like... I mean, it doesn't really matter. Oh, wait, actually, speaking of lords... And maybe even not so temporary lords. You, Eddie, you're on field, buddy. And you will go right to the edge of this territory. I wonder how Cetra will react to this. Alrighty, and I wanted to get another lord to start recruiting a couple of Gorbeast chariots, but at the same time we're at minus 1,000 right now. Maybe we want to wait a little bit at least. Any good Chaos Lords? I don't dislike the Gorefeast ones, but it obviously only buffs the single lord rather than the army, which would be preferable. Like these Mauler ones as well. We could send you down here rather than having to move you out here. This is Cetra's last territory, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so soon only Khemri remain. You know, I'm gonna think about this. In the meantime, we have some careful fighting to do. Some very, very careful fighting to do. You, Skarby, are going to hit Qatar. Like so. We will not auto-resolve it because it will kill our units. We'll try to carefully kill these guys without taking too much damage from Tomb Swarm and stuff. Frankly, I think what we'll do here is this. Skarby can heal himself, so we'll take his healing potion and give this to you so that you can, you know, remain healthy-ish. And Eddie is a... Oh, Inspiring Presence. Eddie is a Mauler, which is fine. I wish you were a Blood Speaker so that you could move in and help heal our single entities. We could grab one at Agrul Migdal, but we will have already gone to Numas by the time we're there, and we wouldn't be able to reach the place in time. Alright, so... I'm sorry, what was that sack value? 15k? Huh, Qatara's worth a fair bit. Oh, it has the Pyramid of King whatever. It's expensive. Go figure. Anyway, let's fight this.
Leave nothing alive. Rejoice in slaughter. Bathe in blood.
Alrighty, here we go. Just gonna be a super quick fight against a relatively minor force. Ooh, we do get to try out Skarbrand's Flaming Breath, though. Doing a little bit of damage to some Tomb Guard. Frankly, they weren't positioned well for us to get the best use out of that. Anyway, Skyla's gonna move in onto the right flank and cause them to rampage, while Skarby moves to where the main enemy unit are and is also going to cause them to rampage. The rest of our army is waiting, with the Blood Reaper and the Cultist popping off their healing potions to recover some of their HP, while we now get ready to move on in. But for now, these guys are free to dish out the damage. Now, our most damaged units, which I believe were the Berserkers, we've just withdrawn them immediately off the map because they're non-viable to fight, and the Khorne's Bloody Fist is not quite viable by virtue of being so, you know, severely damaged, but it does have Gore Feast. So if we can get it to fight a little bit once the enemy is sufficiently surrounded, then Gorefeast should help heal it up a little bit, even if we don't have a healing potion. Anyway, looks like the enemy are free of rampages now and are just charging towards us, interestingly including the skeleton archers, but it might just be that they don't know when to go. Our first Chaos War Shrine of Khorne is now on field as well, and look at that. Jumping off the War Shrine to actually hit jerks with your axe. I mean, look at this animation and then go back and look at poor Aranessa. It's just embarrassing. If they never add anything to Vampire Coast again, they could at least fix Aranessa's animation. Well, actually, frankly, Sartosa shouldn't be part of the Vampire Kills. But anyway, I suppose it's not important. What is important is our Bloodletters have arrived and are quickly hacking those poor skelly boys apart without too much trouble. Khorne's Bloody Fist has entered the fray as well. Minus 46% fire weakness now as well. Yeah, Khorne's Bloody Fist helping out, getting that Gore Feast to heal him up. Though there isn't too much gore to be feasting upon. I'm not so sure you'd enjoy feasting upon bone dust, so yeah. All good though. With that, the bounce power shifts to 100% in our favor, and a few more seconds until the last of the little skelly boys melt away, and the battle is ours. Oh, the stomp. Oh, I love that animation. Anyway, there we go. With that, the last of the enemy melt, and we remain alive, and our units are still, have recovered a little bit. Alright, there we go. Had to approach that pretty darn carefully, but at the same time, we were able to survive despite the severe damage that we had taken going in. And next up, we can choose between this total of 5,000 skulls or 15,000 damage. And both, or 15,000 HP. The thing about this is that the sack will also give us some unit replenishment, and much as I'd love 5k skulls and to raise the place, I think it's safer to do this. There we go. Another blood collector as well. This does also put us in range of Numas, which means we can head on over, and we can presumably get skulls out of that. Why are you suffering attrition? Oh, the chaos corruption. This we can also not auto-resolve, unfortunately, despite being a relatively minor battle, though, this actually looks a fair bit tougher than the previous fight. They have Ushabti with Great Bow and regular Ushabti, and obviously our army is pretty darn beat up going into this. Also, what are we level? I just got the 1 level. Unfortunate. Let's get murder. Get more of that effective HP. As Mr. Skyla, get you the Chosen of Khorne as well. Beautiful. Alright. So you're looking, if not quite okay, at least getting better. You two are getting ready to meet up at Henry. I would have preferred if all of you were there to meet up with the rest of us at Henry, but, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, we'll have to go back to Sudenburg anyway, whatever. You all, I would like to go... You know what, you can raid. Oh, wow, no, you cannot raid. You can go here. And these guys are causing the sandstorm attrition. Yeah, you go here, you can... actually, you can raid. All the back and forth. You, I would like to go into combat trials. We need to start channeling magic on all of you. You've lost it all thanks to this frickin' draining winds, and now we need to reclaim it all. You are damaged, but you also cannot recover because you're a blood host. I was gonna send you out to grab this, but we might actually need you here, so let's get you moving on. I'll protect everybody at the as well. Great. Alright, you guys are now all in position. The other armies are getting their mana back, or attempting to. Wait, this is supposed to give us plus 20 per turn. Minus 12 from the local province it wins. Oh, it's because it's these wins. Yeah, it's minus 10. Oh, wow, well. We suffer attrition anyway, so I guess we could just move. Oh, well, actually, you can't, but maybe you can? I don't think you can go far enough. I wanted to see whether we could switch to the other province. There we go. You can at least gain some wins this way. You, I fear, cannot move any more forward, unfortunately. Yeah. Alright, just stay there. It's all good. Frankly, it doesn't seem to be much of a reason to go for combat trials then, but it is what it is. At least we're gaining like 3 skulls out of all of this. It's better than nothing, if barely so. Anyway, what else do we have here? Oh, we got Blood Reaper, Exalted Hero, and Cultist of Khorne. Wait, what did we do to gain 1 hero capacity of each kind? Do I care? No, but it's good that we have this. What do we have here? Slaughterer, Brawler, Cultist, we have Battle Master. I did like those Battle Masters. Don't like Bloodseeker, and I don't particularly like Bloodright either. I mean, it would be decent for making you sort of a fighty guy thanks to Heroic Killing Blow, but probably not as worth it. Battlemaster seems really nice for the cultists, because bolstered command on top of the War Shrine stuff seems like the way to go. So I'm gonna go for you, Battlemaster. So wait. You started level 5 here, but here, by the gems, you started level 4? What? Eventually it'll give us plus 3 recruit rank, but I guess right now it doesn't do that for us. Alright, fine, fair enough. Go for the Battle Master then. Cultist of Khorne. I guess we just built military structures, which is why we have this. I'm pretty sure we have at least 1 Slaughterer, right? One of these guys with the Sundering attacks. Might actually work nicely, funnily enough, with the Wrathmongers. You two. You have Dripping with Blood, Causing Bleed. You have Menace. Oh, you have the spell resistance. Oh man, now we have 3 different kinds. Well, whatever. Whatever. It's still probably valuable to have the Sundering. Frankly, I would have actually preferred... I was tempted to mill one of these guys. You know what? Let's mill the Intense guy. The thing is, I'd actually prefer to get Sundering on a cultist if we cannot gain bleed on a cultist. Also, Headhunter ain't bad, but not necessarily in this army. Oh, you know what? Headhunter... I assume Karanak already has this. I gotta double check if he has the trait, because if he doesn't, I know who's getting that. But anyway, Skarby, you still have to fight at Numas. Alright, we're kind of out of time, but I'm kind of invested in this saga of the clever little move of the Sandstorm here, so I want to finish it up. So let's hit Numas real quick as well. Honestly, it's kind of hard to drown this particular land in a tide of blood, except I suppose our own blood. But anyway, Skarby gonna get that breath off on the enemy, do a little bit of damage to a few of them before heading on in, and basically can only get that off one time, just because after that Skarbrand will close into melee, and why would he ever bother leaving melee? And also good luck convincing him to. Anyway, it should be a pretty simple battle in the same vein as the previous fight. A relatively minor garrison, certainly stronger than the previous one, but we are also a little bit stronger as well, having slightly recovered. The rampage being forced upon the enemy keeps the enemy artillery from firing, which means the rest of our army is now able to close. And what was the... just want to double check. The... Giver of Ruinous Glory. The Furious Glory. Plus 10 melee attack, base weapon damage, arm piercing weapon damage. Alright, it's decent. The Nurglite shrines make the rest of the Warsh lines look so terrible by comparison, but, you know. Obviously, Khorne is going to have a War Shrine that makes things hit harder. It's Khorne, what do you expect? And that is once again why melee defense buffs, if any, can be acquired, and melee attack debuffs on enemies are at a premium in the Khornate faction due to just the relatively low melee defenses on everybody compared to the melee attack and all the different ways we can boost our melee attack, because we have a million of them. Although admittedly, when we end up fighting factions like dwarfs with their super high melee defense, all of the extra melee attack steroids will come in fairly handy, so... not something to complain about. Anyway, the bounce power has shifted to about 85% in our favor. Our bloodthirsters stand in the center of the enemy formation, and our fleshhounds and our bloodletters have now surrounded the enemy forces and are now tearing them to shreds. Skylamphengrim causes his explosion in the center of the enemy formation, which we have to enjoy for at least a little bit more, but soon he will be split off out of this army. And then I guess we'll move the... well... with our doggos leveled, we probably won't put Karanak in this army. And Skarbloodwrath will probably immediately go into the other army, so yeah, we'll probably just be using general heroes. But anyway, the Tomb Kings won't be alive to see either of those things. And I note no desyncs in the smaller battles. I am still convinced that it happens specifically when armies summon the Ushabti. I think maybe there were some changes to Ushabti summoning in SFO that might be causing it. I could be wrong, of course, it's just my assumption. It's just what I feel is happening. But yeah, note that one battle had a desync, but the two smaller ones did not. Alrighty, there we go, another quick little bout, and we remain alive, and the rampage yet continues. This time, much as I'd love to sack it, we will go for the skulls. I guess we could also go for the Blood Host, but I'm not sure it has any real use to us in this particular situation, because we'd want to heal next turn anyway. So yeah, Skulls for the Skull Throne, and then don't move the wrong way. Skarby. Alrighty, there we go. Then, I would like you to, I guess, threaten Khemri. In theory, oh, the annoying thing is Malagor might go to Qatar. Though, if we stay in raiding here, Malagor can't threaten Khemri because he's too weak. The garrison there is too strong, I think. I hope. What's the likelihood? Well, this is all devastated as well. Yeah, he's probably going to attempt to target Numas. Actually, we could target Numas now that I think about it. Oh, wait, no, we already did that this turn, unless we want to occupy it, but I don't think we do. Yeah, alright, stay in this territory. I wanted to move here and then raid Khemri, but I don't want then Cetra to reposition himself to Khemri and then defend against Malagor, so yeah, I guess we'll position ourselves right out here, and we'll see. Cetra may or may not defend Qatar, it won't matter, I suppose. And we have one level out of that, just the one so far, but still pretty good. Let's go for Cleave. And gives us 10 speed, and this gives us 20 charge bonus. Anyway, folks, so with that, it looks like Skarby's army does continue to survive as yet. These guys are max level now, so I think they've earned the right to become exalted. I might not put them all in the same army, because that feels like it might be too many. Although, depending on, I mean, a full bloodletter host, we'll see. Or maybe I should have kept them as regular bloodletters. I'll think about it. We can always get more regular bloodletters as we split those up. Anyway, like I said, we're out of town. I'm going to call it here next time. And by the looks of it, there's a distinct likelihood that we destroy both the Drakenhof Conclave and Khemri. Plus, this army will be the Wrathmonger army under whoever it is here, Rager. And it's pretty much ready to go. There might be a few adjustments that need to be made to it based on the heroes and whatever other things we want to put into it, but it should be able to split off and do its own thing, which should be pretty darn nice. Skarby will hopefully be able to fight Cetra, and then we'll work on splitting a third army off as well after this one's gone. And we are nearly prepared for it with all of these bloodletters and potentially the Blood Crusher Regiment of Renown that we have available to us, and whatever other regiments of renown that we want to use. If we put some cannons in there, that could also work nicely. Yeah. Anyway, stay tuned for more Skarbrand, especially later today. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, and if you haven't voted for the next campaign as yet, do remember to cast your vote over in the posts tab of the channel. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.